Hello guys, in this video I will talk about some concept of Hibernate. This concept named mapping types, Cascade, and fat types. Okay, in the previous video I have created a new database, and in this database I have a user table, and for this user table I have created a new user class, and in this user class, I have created 4 properties to map for the column of the table. As you can see, all the things we do in the previous video only use one table. But in the real world project, we will have a lot of tables. For example, I have a schema like this, where as you can see, I have a table in the database, and similarly to this, I have a lot. We have a lot of table of a database. So to deal with a lot of table in a database, we need we need to have a merchandise to create the relationship for the table. And to create a merchandise, there are 4 types of mapping to generate a merchandise to create the relationship for table. And these 4 types of mappings will be one to one, one to many, many to one, and many to many. Let me dive deeper to each other. For the first one will be one to one. For example, a user can have an user address. For the one to many and many to one, the example will be a user can join many classes. And the many to many relationship is a user can buy many products, or a product can purchase from many users. Okay, this is the concept of the 4 type mapping, and we use it for create the relationship of the table in the database. Okay, to make the table connect to each other to form relationship, we need to have the private key and foreign key. Private key is the column that identify the row of the table, and the foreign key is a field of a table that refer to primary key of another table to link the table together. Let me show you an example about foreign key. For example, I have a user table here, and user table have a private key of ID user, and the user have multiple students. That means we have a student table, and we will have an ID user in the user student, and this is the foreign key to connect the user table and the student table. So that's the foreign key. Okay, let's move on to another concept of cascade. So cascade is a concept to describe the action of data of the table that's related to each other. I have a sample to describe this concept. The simple one, we have an user table, and we have a user address table. That means a user have an user address. So when we delete a user, we need to delete the user address that belongs to that user. If we don't delete the user address, but we delete the user address will not belong to any user, and the user address will be redundant. I have an example too, that a user can buy many products, and a product can purchase from many users. When we delete a user, we don't need to delete the product because that product can purchase by another user. So we don't want to delete the product in that case. So the cascade is a concept to describe the action of data of tables, and we need to define the relationship between the table using the cascade concept. Okay, let's move on to the next concept. It's a fetch type. Fetch type is a merchandise to load relevant data that's related to the loading entity. I have an example here, and I will show you. For example, I have a user entity, and I have a student entity. When I load the data of this table, I can load this data of student table, or I don't need to load this student data. For example, so the eager loading is the get data that's relevant immediately. That means when we load the university student table, we load the data from student also. And for the lazy loading, when we load the data, we get the data that's 11 grand needed. That means we don't need to load the data from the student at the time of loading data from the university. Okay, let's move on to another concept of unidirectional and bidirectional. This concept is a relationship describe the dependency or connectivity between items. For example, unidirectional is the when we have a relationship in one direction. For example, I have a student table and we have an address table. When we have a student, so we can have an information of address, but when we have the information of address, we don't have the information of student. So in this case, we have a unidirectional. That's a relationship in one direction. But in the case of we have the data student, and we can also have address student from student, and when we have the data address, we can also have the student. So this is the concept of bidirectional. That means we have the relationship in both directions. Okay, that's all for this video today. See you in the next one.